This episode of the LCTV News is brought to you by Leo Inc., Daolis Brothers Construction, and King Movers and Storage.
Hello everyone, you are watching the LCTV News. Thanks so much for tuning in. You are in for a treat this week as we cover almost every topic you can imagine, from new construction to educational changes to several members of the community being honored. Brought together nicely by an interview with United Lynn Pride discussing a statement they released last month. Here's the news for Friday, May 16th, 2025. Mayor Nicholson and the City Council put out a joint statement to address the increase in ICE activity, both here in the city and across the Commonwealth. Immigration policies have changed drastically in the last few months due to new regulations by the federal government. The statement is as follows, quote, "Residents should be aware of an escalation of ICE activity in Lynn and throughout the Commonwealth, including an increase in collateral detentions. Meaning, if ICE is seeking a specific individual, others run the risk of also being detained. While the current federal administration has repeatedly stated that it is targeting violent criminals, there has been a shift in their approach to detain people who they suspect do not have status when they encounter them in the course of their operations to identify a target. We have expressed to ICE our opposition to this practice. Given limited resources, especially if there exists the level of criminality that the federal government claims, we do not believe that these collateral detentions are what would best accomplish our public safety goals. Not only because the resources will be better spent on higher public safety priorities, but also due to the unrest and fear it creates in our community. We also believe the collateral detentions are not fair to our residents and violate the spirit of our country's proud tradition of due process. Nevertheless, establishing and enforcing immigration policy is the responsibility of the federal government. While we are unable to restrict or control the federal government's enforcement activities, we do want to communicate our support for our immigrant neighbors and serious concern with the impact that these activities are having in our city," end quote. The full statement is also available in Spanish. Following several years of work, the Haven Project held a ribbon cutting for their Catalyst housing project the morning of the 9th. This development includes 23 units for housing unstable youth who make less than 30% of the median income. In a city where thousands of young people struggle with housing, this was a significant step in better assisting them.
On May 9th, the Haven Project and Harbor Light Homes held a ribbon cutting for their Catalyst housing project. This collaboration provides permanent supportive housing for homeless young adults aged 18 to 24.
Catalyst housing represents more than just housing. It represents potential for generational impact for the young people in our community. This is a place to launch, to grow, and to thrive.
There are 23 studio units, some of which are ADA equipped, designed for 30% of the area median income, meaning those earning under $34,300 a year qualify. There are also work and community rooms with small kitchens available for use. A resident manager will live on site, and residents will also be provided services for case management, health and wellness, community building, and more.
Housing units you've heard about for formerly homeless and housing unstable youth that have now been made for this most vulnerable age group are a reflection of our deepest desire to make sure that every single young person has a chance to succeed.
The number of students in Lynn Public Schools that have experienced homelessness is large. 5 years ago, there were 1,098 students, and this year, that number is 2,005.
That is a scale of need that is hard to wrap your mind around, and it's a crisis. It's an absolute crisis that's happening right here in our community. And it's overlapping crisis, as all of you know. There's mental health, there's substance abuse, and above all, it's the cost of housing.
And in the City of Lynn, at a time when many communities across the Commonwealth are rejecting housing and trying to put roadblocks up, I'm so proud to be from a city and a community here that embraces it and does everything they can to help create it and foster that growth.
So that's a good thing you're going to do today, and persist, and good things will happen. And in this case, you did. And pretty soon, a bunch of people are going to be sleeping and living and knowing their own joy inside of the good thing that you all decided to start and make happen.
Thank you for being here to celebrate this milestone with us, and we can't wait to show you what comes next.
The design and planning are underway for a major upgrade of a 2-mile stretch on Western Ave. This $60 million project is funded by a combination of state and federal funds, with the city covering the cost of design work. According to Aaron Clausen, the City of Lynn's principal planning director, this reconstruction project will completely upgrade the roadway and 15 intersections from Western to Central Street to Western and Eastern Aves. Improved signalization will be implemented at 4 additional intersections. Traffic flow and drainage will also be upgraded to make the road safer for all users and improve access to the bus transit system. Western Ave is traversed by 16,000 to 18,000 vehicles per day, including more than 1,000 per hour at peak times. Several intersections are identified by the state as locations of excessive numbers of accidents. At this time, the design phase is at 25% completion and is scheduled to be completed by fiscal year 2029, with construction beginning in 2030. As of May 11th, building inspections will be conducted in-house by the Inspectional Services Department. According to the director of ISD, Zoza Van Meter, the city opted not to renew their contract with SafeBuild, a community development and infrastructure service provider Lynn has been working with since 2021. Now, the Inspectional Services Department will have a team of 4 in-house inspectors that will handle permitting and inspecting for the building department. When asked about this change, Van Meter went on to say, quote, "This decision was made to further foster collaboration between all of our inspectors, including health and trade, as well as deliver a better end product to our constituents. Our goal in ISD is to provide excellent customer service to the city, and this reorganizational piece has given us tools to do just that," end quote. The city will continue working with SafeBuild on larger commercial projects. The pop-up gallery at Lynn Arts used to only be open during the summer months. Now, through grant funding, they are open year-round, allowing more artists to display their work. Last week, it was Annette Sykes' turn to discuss pieces she created for several collections since retiring last year.
Hi, my name is Annette Sykes, and my studio is called Paint by the Ocean, and I am having my solo show at the pop-up community gallery at the galleries at Lynn Arts here in Lynn at 25 Exchange Street. And we just had my artist talk. Some of the things that I am exhibiting here that you will see are a wall full of the portraits that I have drawn during my Monday Night Painters group. There's a series of still lifes. I like to think of them as still lifes in the wild. It's from a series called Antiquing with Bob, and they are bits of glass and some tins and just different things that I've found throughout the antique trips that Bob and I have done. But when you do something like drawing and I'm, selecting colors and brushes and whatnots, and focusing on something, it is another form of meditation. And I've often, in the last couple of years, said that when the pandemic hit and we closed the gala Monday night figure drawing group for about a year, I became not quite as nice as I usually am. I got a little bit cranky. And when we started that drawing group, the figure drawing group, on Monday nights back up again, it was like coming home. It was like, oh, so this is what is needed. And I mean, a 20-minute meditation, that's pretty good. And we do that for about 3 hours. It's incredible.
Latina Santa Maria hosted more than 100 people for their 9th annual gala and awards ceremony. Held this year at Spinelli's in Linfield, this event highlighted the importance of supporting the Latino community while also recognizing those who are already making an impact in the city. Latina Santa Maria lit up Spinelli's the night of the 9th with their 9th annual gala and awards ceremony. Attendees heard from the founder of the organization, Magali Torres Rowe, about her inspiration when creating this organization almost a decade ago.
Evangelizar en la periferia.
And Pope Francis always taught us to spread the gospel.
Y por eso hace 9 años,
That's why 9 years ago,
después de un discernimiento profundo,
after a profound moment,
porque yo estaba coordinando pastoral juvenil en la arquidiócesis de Boston,
because I was coordinating this movement in Boston,
el Señor me decía, es tiempo de dejar los jóvenes, ahora te necesitan las mujeres.
the Lord told me it's time to leave the youth behind.
Las
Women
mamás.
need you.
Porque las madres somos la piedra angular del hogar y de la sociedad.
Moms need you, because moms are the rock and base of society.
Por eso estamos, y empezamos así,
And that's why we started.
y después nuestra misión es empoderar, primero fue la mujer latina, ahora es la comunidad latina a través de la educación.
And then our mission became to empower Latina women, but now we want to empower the whole Latino community through education.
Y apoyando nuestra gente, nuestras madres, encontrando oportunidad mejorar sus vidas.
And they support our people, especially our mothers, giving them opportunities to better their lives.
Several dozen members of the community were honored for their work in public service, advocacy, community impact, and the Inspirational Man and Women 2025. Honorees span from nonprofit leaders to politicians, to members of the community who work behind the scenes in multiple organizations. All spoke about their desire to make a difference and how honored they were to be receiving such an award.
So I just want to congratulate all Magali and the whole Maria team for all you continue to do.
Así que felicidades a Magali y al equipo María por todo lo que hacen.
And this is a great honor. Looking forward to the rest of the night.
Of journalism are accuracy, brevity, and clarity.
Y para ser periodista necesitamos tener claridad y mucha claridad.
I'm going to focus on the brevity.
Y me voy a enfocar en ser breve.
Thank you.
Así que gracias.
The Department of Elementary and Secondary Education honored 31 award-winning educators from across the state at their annual celebration honoring excellence in teaching on May 13th. The awards ceremony was also partnered with the singing and dancing performance by Lowell High School's Sound Impressions. But the highlight for the city, 2 Lynn English educators were honored as semi-finalists for the 2025 Teacher of the Year. They are languages teacher Michael Hada and special education and American Sign Language teacher Heather Lang. As stated by the Education Secretary and Interim Commissioner of Elementary and Secondary Education, Dr. Patrick Tutwiler, quote, "You are helping every student be known and valued. You're helping them feel safe and welcomed at school. And you're helping to make their learning relevant and interactive. I am lucky to be working with all of you. Thank you for all that you do," end quote. WellPoint Health Benefits Company sponsored the 2025 Teacher of the Year programming, offering $100,000 to the winner's school and $5,000 to each finalist school, including Lynn English. The Lynn School Committee voted to advance a proposed $346 million FY26 school budget and set a June 12th public hearing, but not without a slew of questions regarding the City Arts and Sciences Academy, Lynn's newest school slated to open this fall. Kevin McHugh, a business administrator, outlined the current financial picture for the schools, noting that while there will be a $29.5 million increase in Chapter 70 funding, there is also a projected 10.2% increase in health insurance, a 15% boost in pensions, and a 13.1% rise in out-of-district special education tuition. Members of the community raised concerns regarding construction risks and waiver processes for projects exceeding $15,000. Specifically focused on a new fire alarm system and electrical distribution upgrades. The overall concern revolved around the accelerated construction timeline, shifting staffing positions, and a lack of a contingency plan if this location were to become unusable for any reason. Additionally, construction for CASA and the extended Frederick Douglass Collegiate Academy at Eastern Bank are happening simultaneously. There is no backup location for FDCA, so both schools must be ready at the same time. Budget deliberations for the school committee will resume on May 29th. One of my personal favorites, the Lynn Special Games, were held this past Tuesday the 13th at Manning Field. Previously rescheduled due to weather, they had a perfect day for several hundred students to take part in a parade and over 20 activity stations.
Welcome everyone to the Lynn Special Games 2025. We believe in you. We support you. Good luck today in the games. We want Lynn to be a community where everyone is welcome and supported. That starts with our students, and everyone means everyone. That means that this community goes the extra mile to create important opportunities for us to gather, for us to celebrate, for us to play, for us to find joy in one another and in this beautiful weather.
Lynn was one of 56 communities to receive funding from the state Community Transit Grant Program, which supports programs that expand and enhance mobility for older adults, those with disabilities, and low-income individuals. Grants totaled $5.8 million, with Lynn receiving $100,000. The city will use this money to hire a community transportation coordinator, who will work with vulnerable populations to educate and connect them with available transportation options. According to Norris Guscott, the Lynn Public Health Coordinator, their assessments point to how vital it is for people to have access to transportation and resources related to transit. In addition to resident engagement, the Community Transportation Coordinator would also work with organizations, including GLSS, the Lynn Senior Center, and other nonprofits who already have the means to provide or extend transportation. The STAR program moved their home base in Lynn and will now be housed at 20 Central Ave. The Essex County Sheriff's Department held an open house the afternoon of the 14th to show people around the space and explain the benefits of the STAR program, begun 3 years ago in 2022.
This is our new STAR office. STAR is Supporting Transition and Reentry. And our goal now in corrections is to, when individuals arrive at the jail, we're trying to find out what services can we provide to them so they do not come back to jail, And more importantly, they don't stay in their communities and commit crime, making more victims of crime out in our community, which obviously is not good for anyone. So we have a number of courses and different programs inside the jail, anything from substance use disorder treatment to mental health issues to clinical treatments, anger management. We also have vocational programs where we, try to teach the inmates a trade so they can get a job when they get out. Now we use a contract with Northern Essex Community College, but we also have Merrimack College come in, and they teach classes to the inmates while they're there. And the purpose of the STAR program is so when the inmates get out, they can come into the STAR program either here in Lynn or the one in Lawrence and continue all those programs that I just mentioned. Whatever their particular need is, we can continue to address that while we're here. Got to give the Lynn Police credit because they came to us about 2 years ago and they said, can anybody use the services or do you have to have been in jail? We said, we'll offer these services to anybody that needs them. Regardless, we'd rather do it on a prevention basis so they don't get into the system. So the Lynn Police Department, particularly the bicycle unit, has referred dozens of people to the STAR program. We have less inmates in the jail, and people are staying in the community, staying engaged with family, as well as employment, and hopefully they're all going to continue to be productive members of society. It's just walk in or call. They can speak to one of the staff members here. We have clinicians trained in any of those fields. We also have navigators. So when people are here, the navigators are almost like a big brother, big sister. They can kind of oversee them and help them out, guide them a little bit. 2 years ago, when we really started, we had about 30 clients a day. We're up over 125 now. And I'm really proud to say in 2023, which is after our first year of operation, we were voted the #1 program in Massachusetts by the Massachusetts Sheriff's Association. So we held the gold standard. We created the gold standard for a reentry program. And that credit has to go to the staff here that do it for us in the Essex County Sheriff's Department. They're incredible. They're dedicated, they're committed, and they believe in it. And that's why we think we're having so much success, along with all the community partners we have.
Rams softball ran over Malden 20-9 over the weekend. Elisa Ullis went 3 for 4 with a homer, 3 RBIs, and 3 runs scored. Mia Duncan added another 4 hits, with McKenna Duncan going 3 for 4 with a triple. But the highlight of this game was Nevaeh Eath collecting her 100th career varsity hit, and she did it in style. Eath went 3 for 4 with 4 RBIs and a pair of homers. Classical kept this momentum going, tripling up on Somerville 18-6 on the 14th. Chloe Corbett led the offense, going 2 for 2 with 3 RBIs. Next up, the postseason-bound Spartans hosted Bishop Feion on the 12th and came away with a critical 2-1 victory. Lena Awuni was the hero, hitting the game-winning walk-off RBI single. They secured their spot in the tournament with a 3-1 win over Cardinal Spellman. Pitcher Eliza Crane Oviedo had herself a day, going the distance, allowing just 3 hits and no earned runs. Abby Sosa launched a homer in the first and tacked on an additional 2 RBIs. While Lynn Tech fought hard, but ultimately fell to the Minutemen 19-5 on the 14th. While the 12-3 Lynn Classical Baseball took care of business against Somerville 6-1 last Wednesday. Boo DeSalva registered 2 hits and 3 RBIs, with an additional 3 Rams contributing hits and RBIs. As of the 11th, Classical is ranked 24th in the MIAA Division II Power Rankings. While St. Mary's suffered just their 2nd loss of the season, 4-2 at the hands of Bishop Feion. Despite the loss, they remain the top seed in the Central Catholic League. The Tigers joined them in the loss column, falling 4-1 to a strong Greater Lawrence team. Classical and English squared off in baseball, softball, and volleyball this past Monday. First up, the Bulldogs doubled up on the Rams, 12-6 on the Diamond. Gulmer Galva hit an inside-the-park home run to give English a 4-0 lead in the 2nd inning. Classical got a few back, but the Bulldogs piled on a few more of their own for an impressive 12-4 lead by the end of 5. But it was all Classical from there. In softball, the Green and Gold scored 6 in the 1st inning and never looked back, scoring 5 times as many runs as their opponent, 20-5. Even more impressive, Brooke Braswell, Mia Duncan, and Nevaeh Eath accounted for 13 of those runs themselves, at 5, 4, and 4 respectively. Turning to volleyball, Classical upped their record to 9-7, beating English in straight sets. The Rams won every set by at least 8 points, with their largest margin of victory coming in the final set, 25-14. Kinzel Lentano was everywhere, registering 31 assists, 2 digs, 3 aces, and a kill. Teammate Long Pham tacked on 20 digs, 2 aces, and an assist. Lynn Tech continues to roll, beating Neshoba Valley in dominant fashion 3-0. The closest Neshoba came was 25-13 in the first set. From there, it was all Tigers. Elmer Duran was everywhere, registering 18 assists and 3 aces. Lynn Tech also took down city opponent Kip 3-0 on the 14th. 3 Tigers combined for 22 digs and 5 aces. After winning the rubber match with the Kansas City Royals 3-1 over the weekend, the Sox were swept by the Detroit Tigers 14-2, 10-9, and 6-5. But the Celtics lived to see another day as they staved off elimination, beating the New York Knicks in Game 5 of the semifinals 127-102. Boston star Jason Tatum was inactive as he ruptured his Achilles tendon in their Game 4 loss and underwent surgery to repair it on May 13th. But the Celtics stepped up in a big way, with 6 players registering double-digit nights. Derek White had a game-high 34 points, including 7 3-pointers. Jaylen Brown and Peyton Pritchard also posted 26-point and 12 assists and 17-point nights, respectively. But it was Luke Cornett who stole the show, with 7 blocked shots in the game. They now travel back to New York for Game 6 tonight, the 16th. There is uncertainty everywhere, from the local level all the way up to national politics. To this end, Lynn United Pride's executive director came on the Lowdown to highlight resources available for the LGBTQ+ community in this turbulent time. Additionally, he highlighted a letter recently released by the Rainbow Pride Coalition. Here is more of what he had to say. Hello and welcome back to the Lynn Lowdown. I'm Dani Vittori, and today we welcome back on United Lynn Pride. Thanks for coming back on the show today.
Thank you for having me.
Great. So would you mind just giving a quick overview? We're here to talk about what's been happening lately with LGBTQ+ rights, both locally and a bit nationally. So would you be able to give a little overview of what we're going to discuss today?
Yeah, so for those unaware, I'm sure a lot of people are aware already, but the current political climate is very unfriendly to the LGBTQ+ community. There's been a lot of rhetoric restricting, not just explicitly like, trans, gay, lesbian, etc., everybody under the alphabet umbrella, but even just, more restrictive to just traditional gender norms as to, what women are supposed to do, what men are supposed to do. So I'm here today to just very briefly talk about that, as well as speak about some of the resources that are around and reaffirm United Lynn Pride's commitment to supporting our community.
And one thing you did come with was there was a statement that both this group and several others signed, a statement of support for the community as a whole. Did you want to, what were some highlights from that?
Yeah, so the statement, I have it printed out here, and our social media post is not up yet, but by the time this comes out, it'll probably be up on our social media. But we have a statement here that is from the Rainbow Coalition. The Rainbow Coalition is an informal collection of different LGBTQ+ groups across the North Shore. So United Lynn Pride, North Shore Pride, Tri-Town Pride, I believe Beverly Human Rights Commission is a group, a number of different folks. And we meet on a monthly basis to just discuss both what our local events are happening, but more recently with this change in how things are going, we've been focusing a lot more about making sure our community knows that we support them, we're there for them, and we're going to help in any way we can. So from this statement, this is explicitly to the trans community. We just want to make it known to them that we support them and we'll help them locate whatever they need, just because there are so many anti-trans bills coming out across the country. And yeah, just reaffirm our commitment to them.
And one thing I thought was great that you included in there was you can create your own family. It doesn't have to be people that you're necessarily blood related to. Your family can be whoever makes you feel comfortable, whoever accepts you for who you are.
Yeah, there's a lot of language in here that's about creating your chosen family, about our love and support, about finding your community, finding your preferred spaces. And I'm really hoping, and it's going to happen, we're going to continue to work to make it happen, that beyond just this, because, something in a lot of different social action spaces I think about is both symbolic action and then also tangible actions.
Okay.
So this, I think, while will have an impact and is very powerful, I also want to be able to give people more direct support, whether through food or whether through finding their medical treatment through a ride or something. So I'm hoping to continue to build off of this.
This is the first step, and you want to keep building up and up.
Going. I mean, United Lynn Pride now, we were third or fourth year, just upward and onward.
And one thing you were even talking about too was the various resources. You do have a booklet there, community resource book. So what were some of the resources that LGBTQ people, plus people, transgender people specifically, would be able to find?
Yeah, so I have, just to address the thing you pointed out, so I do have this booklet here. This is not from United Lynn Pride, but I'm also affiliated with this group. So this is from Lynn Community Connections Coalition. And it's just a resource book of pretty much almost, I think, if not everything, most of the different human services that are around in the city of Lynn and also the surrounding area. I also did send, and it can probably be put up in edit, a link to the United Lynn Pride's resource page that's also fairly comprehensive. It includes a lot of the stuff in here and plus more, specifically to the LGBTQ plus community. You can go to Lynn Community Health if you're looking directly within the city of Lynn, and they have a team internally at Lynn Community Health that focuses specifically on LGBTQ plus health.
Okay.
There are also some affinity groups within Centerboard, and at Raw Artworks there's an affinity group. There's also for anyone who is K through 12, looking into their local GSAs at whichever LPS school you might go to. The broader region, there's a lot of resources on the North Shore in Salem and Greater Boston, both human service related and affinity groups. So there's a lot of different services that provide things at the intersection if you're dealing with domestic violence and you're LGBTQ+. There's the Network La Red, which is also English and bilingual servicing organization. There's Bagley, there's NAGLY, which are youth servicing, even if you're not... It's so funny because talking about the AGLYs, so people might, this is kind of a tangential thing, but there's NAGLY, which is North Shore Alliance of Gay and Lesbian Youth, which they do have a satellite office actually here in Lynn too, which is beneficial. But then there's BAGLY, which is the Boston Alliance of Gay and Lesbian Youth, but there's a whole AGLY network across Massachusetts. So there's a bunch of different funny acronyms of them. So there's WAGLY, which I think is like Worcester. There's SASHAGLY, which is South Shore Alliance of Gay. So that's a service across Massachusetts. There's Project Out, which is a group out of Salem that provides binders as well as other assistance for anybody who is trans, looking for transitional assistance services. And a number of other things, but I won't go down the whole entire long list. If you go to United Lynn Pride's resource page, as well as maybe looking in here, you'll find it all categorized, as well as available in English and in Spanish.
And you're listing all these resources, which they're great, they're so beneficial, but also why do you think it is so important for people to have these safe spaces, to have these resources?
I think it's important generally, but now more so than ever, because as a community, as well as many other marginalized groups, we're actively being targeted. The current leadership in this country has made it easier for those who maybe had that disdain within them, but didn't verbalize it earlier, made them feel more comfortable expressing that disdain for people. So I think it's critical that people find community and also sort of build their resiliency, take care of your mental health, take care of your physical health, continue to spread kindness, empathy is not a weakness, have empathy. And those are the main reasons. And I'll also just say on that point that I'm thankful that, to be here in Massachusetts, which is so progressive, not to say that we're perfect, because we certainly are not, but to say that, I don't see a lot of that in my own community.
Yeah, to feel that you do have the support. I mean, I'm gay myself, so this is a more personal issue for me as well. And I will ask, if anyone's watching and wants to get more involved, whether if it is United Lynn Pride or any of these other organizations, what would you say would be the best way to go about that?
For United Lynn Pride, definitely, send them an email to the info email. There's also a form on there for volunteering. Probably the email is better because I think the volunteer form sometimes will go unchecked. We're an all-volunteer group, so our attendance to things is here or there. Right. There's also the number. The number is accessible via a call or a text. You can always reach out there. If you want to get involved, or even if you're looking for a resource, but you want to directly speak with somebody, you can send an email, give a call. I have had a few instances like that here in the city where I have been supported people. And, just on that point, I'll say, on the local level in Lynn, I often find that the LGBTQ plus issues are not always 100% linked to one's identity as being LGBTQ plus. A lot of them are very intersectional because the city of Lynn is very diverse. So, I think it's, I've had people who are LGBTQ plus reach out looking for immigration support, which is made more complex because of those dual identities.
Right.
People looking for affinity spaces that are more POC friendly and not just LGBTQ plus, but both. People who are looking for homeless assistance in procuring somewhere to stay for the night, but the issue is just made harder because of their LGBTQ plus identity.
Right.
So I find a lot of things like that. But back to your main point about getting involved, email, send a call or a text. For other groups outside of United Lynn Pride, check out the resource page, and I'm sure that those folks all have similar contact pages. There's a lot of great local organizations, and even if you're not looking, I think you should find community, even if it's not 100% LGBTQ+, because I think that even if I think off the top of my head about people involved in all the different groups in the city of Lynn, I can think of LGBTQ+ folks who are advocating for, tenant rights, people who are looking to revitalize downtown, people who are municipal leaders, people who are doing social work and human service work, and they're not explicitly in a gay, lesbian, trans organization, but they're still doing the good work wherever that field might be.
Mm-hmm. So many of the issues or so many things that pop up are so interconnected to one another. I mean, it's rare to find one without connecting it to maybe 5 other things. Like, you can connect housing, immigration, social services. They're all interconnected in some way or another.
Right, yeah.
And I'm trying to think, I think I covered all of my points. I do have to wrap up in a moment, but was there anything else that you wanted to mention that I hadn't touched upon?
An additional resource, not explicitly in this book and not explicitly here, but if you do find yourself in a situation where you think you might be facing hate-based discrimination, I'm also a member of our local Human Rights Commission. You can visit the municipal page for the Human Rights Commission, and there's a form there where you can report an instance where you feel you might have been discriminated on the basis of, race, age, sex, etc. So if that is of relevance to anybody, that's an additional resource. Yeah, I think that's everything off the top of my head.
Great. Well, I just want to thank you again for coming on to speak about these resources that are just so vital to the LGBTQ plus community and just everyone who's being affected by this.
Thank you.
Of course, thank you anytime. And once again, I'm Dani Vittori. This has been the Lynn Lowdown, and we'll see you next week with more guests. Celebrate Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander Month with the City of Lynn next Tuesday the 20th from 5 to 7 p.m. Taking place at City Hall, this event features a mini market showcasing local vendors and free food. Beginning at 6 p.m., there will also be several performances by cultural groups that include Vietnamese and Khmer traditional dances. Calling all musicians, vocalists, producers, and music lovers, the Lynn Music Foundation presents their latest series, The Vault Open Jam Sessions, taking place every Wednesday night from 5 to 8 p.m., May 14th through June 18th. All genres and skill levels are welcome for these free jam sessions, where the community can come together to create something beautiful. Keyboard, drums, electric guitar, and electric bass will be provided. Open mics and freestyle collaborations are encouraged. No pre-registration is required. Simply show up and show your style. The community is then invited to attend the 26th Annual Memorial Tree Service on Saturday, May 24th at 2 p.m. Taking place on the Lynn Common, this service includes readings of names, a presentation of colors by the JROTC, taps performed by members of the Lynn Band, and speeches. Since 1999, this event has offered people a way to honor the memories of family members, friends, and veterans by sponsoring white crystals on the memorial tree. Come by for this impactful, moving afternoon. That is the final bell and the end of another news segment. With graduation right around the corner, we will begin to see even more summer celebrations and plans for the future. As always, keep up to date on all these amazing events and organizations by following @Lynn Community TV on social media. To access our complete community calendar, staff and member shows, and press releases, head to lyntv.org. If you prefer to watch your news, then Lynn Community Television on YouTube is the place for you. And a shout out to our co-op students, Kimberly and Kaylee, who have done an amazing job for us this past year. I'm Dani Vittori, this is LCTV News, and we will see you next week.
This episode of the LCTV News is brought to you by Leo Inc., Daolis Brothers Construction, and King Movers and Storage.